We're here at the installation World Skin by Maurice Benayoun, whose work explores the potential of various media, from video in the 80s to virtual reality in the 90s till now, from web and wireless art to large-scale art installations in public space and interactive exhibitions. Benayoun's work has been widely exhibited all over the world and received numerous awards and prizes. And tonight we're here, we have invited him here to demonstrate his 97 classic piece World Skin that won the Golden Nica in '98, but is here today in a reworked version. Please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't know where to start because I'm still in the previous discussion. So, and it's a complete different topic, even if it's about information and about memory and about what we intend to do and what we are actually doing. So, World Skin is a kind of dinosaur in this field. So it was done in '97, and just have to understand that it was done for a place called a cave. You know, I think most of you know what we call a cave, but it's not, of course, a Plato's cave. It's more the device to be completely immersed. And it was done for a cave because for virtual reality, if you use goggles, then you cannot see each other. And this is supposed to be a collective experience. Usually we just say, okay, you don't know this world, so you are tourists in this world. And as tourists, you have just to visit it. You don't have to be somebody else than yourself. But you have, as any good tourist, you have photo cameras. So you can make photos. Of course, there is something specific you cannot see very well, but you can guess. You will see better after when you will try with the stereoscopic glasses. You're actually moving in a landscape that is completely infinite. I mean, recursive, not really recursive. You can say infinite. Made not of 3D models of war situation, but made of photos from the Second World War and the Bosnia War. Of course, this had a certain, I would say, actuality and relevance at this time, and of course, it's always relevant. But I have to precise that World Skin was made for the Ars Electronica Center, who is in the city of Linz, Austria, that you know. That was also the city where Hitler used to go to school. And of course, the place is pretty well known. So this was interesting to move inside photos of the Second World War. At the time of the Bosnia War, so also we had authentic shots from the Bosnia War. And when you move inside, you can take photos, and you will see what happens when you take photos. They are actually removed from the scene, just the surface of the photo, and you can get the print out of this photo. So it becomes yours. Nobody else can take it. You're actually erasing the skin of the world, the surface of things, but you have ghosts remaining. And so this is, for me, one of the works I did with the idea of creating situations. It's all about situations. When we try to define as an artist what we want to do, what is the material we are working with, I don't consider that I work with virtual reality, even if I've been using that kind of tool. I consider that I work with situations, create situations. So this is one. As everybody here, having nothing to do with these walls, probably, you will experience the fact to be in a situation that is not yours. The interest for me is what happens when we are put in another in a situation that is not the one we were supposed to experience. And then you'd see a baker taking a gun, killing people with the law for him, with the right to do it, and with even the injunction to do it. So here, you start doing something, and then you will see how it evolves and how it evolves in your feeling. So the situation is a bit different than the usual one, because the usual situation is just a small group of people, no noise around, it's something very quiet, and you're very intensively inside. I think I have nothing more to say, because I think it's more important usually to experience it than to talk about it.
I would still like to ask you a few questions about it, if you don't mind. I read that the first version was a cave, as you just said. So that means 4 or 5 projections, I guess.
It has been presented in up to 6 projection, complete cube.
And now we're having it here, actually, which would have been impossible in the original version, I guess. So does this also indicate a sort of evolution in the 3D technology?
The evolution is that this work that used to run on a very big Silicon Graphics runs now on my laptop, my MacBook. So that's a good thing. It's not here; it's a bit bigger, but it's not a matter of equipment. What I like, I'm very happy when I present it on one screen, and people say, "Oh, yeah, that's a pity because the original one was in a 4-screen projection with the ground projection and so on." I'm interested by the fact to be part of the work, to be inside the work. But I want to say that this is not about demonstration of technology. So I'm not trying to demonstrate the potential of the technology. Actually, I don't care about the technology. I just want something that works to do that. And if we can get inside the experience without having something very heavy to move, very expensive to set up, that's much better for me.
Okay, then I'd like to add a question about the concept to that. From your description, I got that it's about the influence of the photographer on a war situation like this. Is that right?
It's not. I consider that in a work there are different layers, of course, and I hope I cannot tell them in one sentence or two. But the experience of the photographer is very important here. Because, of course, I didn't want people just to take a gun to see what is the situation to be in a war with a gun. I prefer something that is closer to our daily experiences, very normal experience. I don't want people to play the war. I just want to experience a specific situation. So to make photos, and I've been a very intensive photographer. I cannot say a good photographer, but an intensive, for sure. And then, when you're doing photos all the day, you have a very suspect experience of being together, experience of others, experience of the world. You see the world with a frame, you have the feeling that you're doing something, you have a mission to tell the world what's going on there, so you're a witness, a mission to make art, a mission to have to create memory. All these things seems to be very clear for everybody. And this is not clear. Because at the same time, we're supposed to take proofs, evidences of the situation. And at the same time, we are deleting the proofs and the evidences. And this is something very clear. When I was making a lot of photos, something was clear. When it was on the film, sorry, it was before the digital time. When it was on the film, I just sometimes just kept the film for years. I saw, okay, it's here. I don't have to think about it anymore. And then sometimes I developed it, and I had prints, and I put them in boxes. I don't have to think about it. So this is more and more about when it becomes concrete, when it becomes something that you can say, I've done my job. Everybody will know. And actually, you don't have to think about it. You don't feel guilty about it. You don't feel anything about it. And it's so obvious when we see situations where people keep on taking photos, filming, and so on. Is it only to be a witness? Is it only for that? There is something obscure behind this idea of to create a memory that is very often a way to erase a memory. That's one of the things.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, then one more follow-up question to the last one. Because I do think in a way your work also reflects the decision that you make as a photographer to put something in the frame and decide to leave stuff out of the frame, which is always a tricky question with war journalists, because they make the news in principle. But another thing that I don't see so much reflected in the work, but maybe I'm wrong, is also that the photographer changed the behavior of whatever he's taking photographs of, because the war situation sometimes changes when war photographers are on the scene. Is that also in a way reflected in the work?
This change, of course, cannot be reflected in this part of the work. This change happens here. And it's very interesting when you observe groups. You have groups where people are shooting a lot as if it would be a competition. Some are trying to erase everything, to have a very white and clean landscape. That is to prove the evidence of having seen everything, you know. We are sure that nothing escaped to our gaze. And there is another behavior, that there are people taking the thing and not taking photos and moving inside. I was saying this story of Masaki Fujiyata, who succeeded having a group with him half an hour in it without taking one photo. And of course we can avoid to take photos. Of course we can discover this world without that. But of course part of the meaning comes only out of the experience of taking some.
It's interesting that you sketch those different, let's say, personality types or approaches to the work, because we had it on for the museum night last Saturday, and you could really distinguish these types of users that you have sketched right now. There were people going crazy with the cameras. There were people trying to figure out how they could look at things and what changes when they would change angles and stuff. So it's really, we've seen them all come by.
So I've done just to go in your direction. I've done many works in which I'm very interested of the changes that happen in front of the screen, in the behavior of people and how they start sometimes communicating together. And when I say about the difference of feeling when it's a very close place, where you are not disturbed by sound around, just people, the sound is supposed to be very loud, and people just speaking like that, you know, or say nothing. Nothing also is good. But you can talk a lot, it's not a problem. Everybody is supposed to do what he wants.
Well, we will boost the audio later on during the demo section. Yeah? Okay, thank you, Maurice.